vegans and preppers of this world. I've wanting to do this for an extremely long time. So welcome back to a rainy South Africa, and this is South African Prepper. So what the hell is going on in China? So I see this is trending on everybody's YouTube channels and pages all across the world, and I decided to go do a bit of my own investigation. And it's quite interesting that in 1950 the Chinese went through a famine and they lost quite a few million people because of this famine. So about 2 weeks ago, on the 1st of November, the Chinese government actually brought out a notice to their citizens that they need to be stocking up on food. So I tried to see why this is happening, and typically of the Chinese, they keep the cards very close to their chests. So the conclusion is that there could be various reasons for this. Now we know that food prices across the world, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world, your food prices went up between 50 and 50%. So in China the food prices went up. So in China, food prices went up by 50%, that's more or less. So they've asked their citizens to stock up, and the speculations are as follow. One, they are expecting a hard lockdown. One, they could take over Taiwan. We do know that they've had damages to crops because of heavy rains. So those are all speculations at this stage. No one really certainly knows, because obviously the Chinese are keeping the cards very close to their chest, and they don't want to alarm their citizens of a food shortage because of the famine that they had in 1950. So why are we talking about China in South Africa? Now, China are trading partners with South Africa, and we've actually seen them the last 2 years buy a lot of produce out of South Africa. They actually at certain stages had, let's call them agents, that went from farm to farm or from distributor to distributor trying to buy very large amount of food. I'm talking 100 tons of maize, or 100 tons of peaches, or 100 tons of apples. We've had this popping up all over South Africa in the last 2 years. So you guys really need to, this is a red flag for the world as a whole, because there's shortages in America, there's shortages in Europe, there's shortages in China now, which I think is a main issue. And inflation, we're going to be ending up with paying 3 to 4 times more for what we used to buy normally. So you guys really need to take this as a red flag. You need to be prepping presents coming December. You shouldn't be buying nonsense. You should be prepping essentials for those family members that are actually not prepping. So we've been asked to talk a little bit about first aid and medical supplies when the shit hits the fan. Now, for the reason we actually don't on this channel open up our medical bags and our bug out bags and so forth for our own security. We don't really want people to know what we have. But what we've seen in the pharmacies the last 6 months are certain items that are extremely difficult to get hold of. And the reason for that is because of imports. You know, I have to understand that South Africa is a net importer. There's a lot of things that we actually don't produce locally in South Africa. So you have to go back to the basics of medicals. So if you have some kind of a chronic issue, whatever that chronic issue is, you need to be buying 6, 7, up to 12 months of whatever that chronic situation that you have. You have to have that medicine with you. Pain medicine, extremely important. Now, when it comes to first aid, a lot of people think when shit hits the fan, it's gonna be full-blown war, Mad Max scenario. We're gonna be shooting 100,000 rounds at each other continuously for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, that is not the case. If you've been operational before, you'll understand that a contact situation only lasts that long. So it is extremely important to store up the basics of the basics. Pain pills, bandages, allergics, things that you use for allergic reactions, things like insect bite repellents, things that can counter insect bites, because you'll be outdoors much more in a SHTF scenario. You'll be working outdoors. In our strategy, we'll be camping for a while, so you'll need things like sunburn and afterburn. So painkillers, things like aspirin, Panado in South Africa, stronger medication, and if you can, like we do, antibiotics, because we recently did a poll, and a lot of people said, I think it's about 41%, I'll put it up the slide just now, a lot of people will die of infection and then of hunger. So those are the two basic things that you need to look out for, is making sure that you don't go hungry, and you need to make sure that you actually stay healthy. So another tip is personal hygiene when shit hits the fan. Make sure that you have got ways to properly clean yourself, because if you stay clean, the chances of an infection is far less. So prevention is better than cure, we always say. So it's extremely important as part of your prepping is to make sure that when the shit hits the fan, your body is as clean as possible for as long as possible, and this will actually help you to stay healthy. It'll help you to not get infection, if you guys get what I'm saying. Please like, share and subscribe.